This is Lucas Ryder, executive producer and writer of episode 507, The Kilgannon Corporation. And guess what? You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
You feel that? That's your heartbeat. Slow it down, because Dembe is safe. Welcome to the award-winning Blacklist Exposed podcast. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
Was anybody really concerned about that? And I am Agent, as in like it was going to happen. I am Agent Aaron Peterson, and I pray that when the rest of my hair finally falls off, which is soon, I'm guessing, I have a dome as silky smooth as Hisham's. Seriously, I'm convinced if you rub it, you're going to get 3 wishes. Thanks for joining us once again as we discuss number 48 on the Blacklist, The Kilgannon Corporation, written by Lucas Ryder and directed by Jean de Suganzak. I'm sure I butchered the hell out of that, but I tried. Show notes and other intel for this episode of the Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
Say Gonzak.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right. Last week we asked all of you to tell us who tipped off Eleanor that the FBI was onto her.
Wendy said the daycare center the kids, in quotes, go to. Kids? Is there more than one kid now?
Well, there were 2 daughters.
But there's only one Agnes, and right? I mean, there is only one. Is there another kid with her twins? And nobody told me. It's very possible with this show. I don't know.
Marta
Tom probably has another one, a secret life.
I'm
He's got like a secret marriage with a secret kid.
Let's see. Tom's got one with Coffee Girl from the computer cafe. He's got one with
Gina
Pete's girlfriend,
Zanatacos.
Gina Zanatacos. Yeah. He gets around. Marta said the nursing home where he was technically being cared for tipped him off.
Grace Norman. Okay, so my idea was that no one actually warned her. She had that call set up somehow just so she could get her husband out of the house and confront him by saying the daughter was at the hospital.
Today of all days. I'm just done with him. I suppose that could happen. Donna Fisher said, at first I thought it was the nursing home, but rewatching it today is definitely the post office guy.
And 2 more. Douglas Bumgarner. The only one we saw on the phone is the guy from the nursing home, which is the obvious answer. However, I'll say the guy at the other legit post office. Again with the post office.
Yeah. Rachel Town said, totally the nursing home, the adult nursing home, the adult amnesia center, whatever that place was.
I think we're probably getting close. Also, I guess Anita had one final comment on last week's episode, how the Blacklist might be tied to Red. She said, and I quote, mostly because she wrote it, in 1989, Calvin got beaten up while on a job and his 2 girls died in the car. Calvin walked inside the back of a restaurant to do a job. The man you went to kill knew you were coming, got a jump on you, left you for dead, bleeding and beaten in the alley. What if that man that got away was Red, and Calvin might have been able to recognize him or reveal if this Red is an imposter, or might have known some facts that could lead Liz closer to the truth? When Samara asked the supervisor of the convalescent home if Calvin's long-term memory was still intact, the man says, yes, everything that happened prior to the injury. 1989 is important because around that time, that fulcrum was created, then stolen, and also the night of the fire took place. Also, 1989 is, I believe, when Lethal Weapon 2 came out, and it's a great sequel.
True.
Oh, this could explain Red's interest in this case, covering up his steps. Dun-dun-dun.
It's possible. I like it.
Drama. Oh, next week, we got a question. I forgot what we're doing here. Does Tom live or die? We're keeping it simple. Does Tim or Tom, does Tim the Toolman Taylor, does he live or die? Does Tom live or die? And if die, how?
Yeah. It'll be
Give us your
interesting
ideas.
Be interesting to see.
I'm pretty sure we had to talk about this, Trey, and you're supposed to keep it yes or no, not add in like things for other people to elaborate on.
Well, I mean, because everybody's like, oh, he's going to die because Red's going to shoot him. So
we're going to talk about that. That whole flash forward thing's coming into this conversation.
Yeah. So we'll see what will happen. But before we run out of air in here, let's go ahead and get to this week's case profile.
The Kilgannon Corporation. We open with one of the most memorable cold opens in the show's history, in my opinion, honestly. That was a very creepy, very eerie way to open the show. A family playing on the beach, and suddenly bodies start to float in from sea. F you, APM! That's all I'm saying.
I also like the Berlin plane breaking up over the sky and like stuff's like falling on the father and son playing catch in the park.
I like this better. This is really like one of my favorite cold opens, I think.
Really?
Yeah, man, it was just, it's a cool visual to see, you're wondering where it's going. Why are we watching a family play? I'm thinking, well, this has got to be like a flashback to somebody's past and we're going to see a history or something. And then bodies start floating up. I'm like, well, this just went somewhere I didn't expect. Loved it.
And I was curious to see which beach they were on. Was it Florida, California, different country? Normandy.
It was. I saw like Tom Hanks over behind a rock if you look close.
It is Veterans Week here in the United States, so
that's why I connected them, sir. You see that? I'm a veteran. I was trying to bring it all home.
There you go. Thank you for your service.
Don't thank me. Thank everybody else. Come to find out, this is the work of number 48, the Kilgannon Corporation, an Irish mob of sorts who have taken over transporting immigrants into various countries without as much emphasis on quality control. So they're okay with losing a few patrons as long as they get paid on arrival, or before. They no longer get paid on arrival. They actually get paid before you depart.
Yes, because now you have to pay up front because these situations are happening.
This is no longer rent-a-center. You are actually paying before you get on. Yeah.
You could say that they're actually getting laid away.
I want to talk about this before we get into it. One, I want to mention that it seems like a bad business model that you're cool with people dying in the freighter because, those Yelp reviews are going to suck.
They're not going to be able to leave the Yelp review because they're dead.
Well, somebody's cousin's going to leave one. Yeah. Was waiting for Bobby for 6 years. Never showed up. Then he floated ashore. Bad service.
It was a slow boat. Engine went out,
The other one is we've talked, man, this is, what number are we on? 7? That was 7 episodes?
Yes, for the season, yes.
We've talked about it every single week. They're very topical this year. Very topical. This is also a very topical issue. This is a very real issue. And did you feel that? Obviously there's comments about people feeling less than others, immigrants sneaking into the country, that sort of thing. So obviously there's a topical reference here.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, especially with all the immigration and stuff that's happening, especially with Turkey, Middle East. They reference Greece in this episode. So it definitely America counts too. Well,
we've got some immigration issues if you didn't hear.
Well, yes, but a lot of those are trying to move from the Middle East across Europe and then eventually to get to the United States. So I just love that it was another worldwide trip, especially on Red's new plane, which seems to fly at warp speed sometimes.
Yeah, but there's definitely a modern
feel to
edge here. Yeah,
yeah.
To a degree, or at least topical, where, hey, immigrants are people. They're escaping certain places and they're trying to get to a better life and da-da-da-da. They're once again trying to skirt a little closer to what's going on in the world, our country and the world at large. And I was kind of curious if you're still on board with this, or is this getting a little too close to home yet?
No, I think this one was fine. It was all right. It was just a very brief moment in the beginning of the episode to set up the concept. Totally okay with this one. I was just glad they didn't go with
say brief. I think it carried through the whole episode. I think that was kind of what Dembe's arc was trying kind of.
Well, the immigration into America portion was the brief part in the beginning because they were in Macedonia and had a long way to go to get to America.
Gotcha.
Later on. But I was just glad for the opening that they didn't do the standard, hey, it's a Florida beach because they're coming from Cuba. So the fact that they were floating off the Carolina coast, I thought that was a nice change. Because otherwise it would have been too on the nose.
Well, it was an interesting way to go. I really liked how they did that here. Red gets Liz on the case because that's what he does. And he tells Cooper they need to head over to Greece because the FBI is officially the CIA now, apparently. I realize the FBI has ties overseas, but they're primarily a domestic unit.
See, Aaron just brushed by that so fast because that's exactly how Red felt about Liz getting married. It was like, oh, I'm so happy for you. By the way, the people are dying.
We're coming back to that. So hey, hold on to the character stuff. We're doing the main plot right now. Keep up. So Red drops in one of his people, and that people is Dembe. We've been hoping for a Dembe-centric episode for a while now.
That's been a while.
It has been a while, and Hisham Tawfiq is an actor that I often feel is underused. He's got a lot of heart, and he brings a lot of heart to the episode just by being on screen. And now you give him some dialogue and a lot of screen time, and I was pretty excited. Were you happy this was a Dembe episode? I
was. I think the concept was a little bit maybe. I mean, it fits because we know the human trafficking story with him, with the Mombasa cartel, and how he came to be. So it's on the nose with how he would have a special interest in being the one that wants to help out. At the same time, I would have liked to have seen Dembe doing something different than going back to story from previously in the show. We've had a couple of those in the start of the season where it's kind of like retreading some old topics.
I actually liked it. The one thing I was expecting, like whenever it's a Dembe-centric episode or he's got a lot of screen time, it's usually him getting the crap beat out of him by Solomon.
Or he's making pasta.
Or he's making pasta. Or some kind of torture technique or something like that. This was a very much where you think it's going to be some kind of action battle, especially once they're in the truck and the guy's getting threatening because he's panicking. But instead we get Dembe calmly asserting his belief in it's going to work out. And there's nothing we can do. I already sussed the situation. We ain't getting out of a refrigerated truck from the inside. I'm telling you, somebody who knows transportation, he's factually accurate. Once you're in there and it's locked, it's very, very hard to get out. So all that banging around ain't going to do you much good. Although there's remarkably good lighting in that trailer.
There was.
For being sealed shut.
I'm like, where's the skylight? Why don't you hit the skylight?
Yeah. It's remarkably just very well lit. But yeah, I like the cool, calm, reflective moments that he got, and it wasn't so flashy. I really dug that. Made me happy that he got some screen time like this too, instead of just action or using his force to get something done.
And where we contrast this with the Cooper episode, where Cooper seemed like he was completely out of character for how he was built up the entire season. Here we have Dembe, who seems to be more in line with that pasta scene where he's like, I don't want to have to beat it out of you. I'd rather just have a meal and have a conversation. So he's trying to find that Zen moment still throughout the course of his arc. So this actually works and fits with what we've seen so far this season.
Absolutely. I thought it was totally within character. Unlike last week, like you already alluded to. So it all leads Red to Arthur Kilgannon. Kilgannon. Yeah, I think I said it right. Who wasn't aware that his son Colin was a total douche nozzle, who was transporting people and equipment not suitable for livestock. Shame on Colin. So Arthur confronts his son. Colin kills him. This is why you don't just hand your kids everything, people, because they will shoot you in the face. Then Red uses mom for leverage. Colin says kill her too. This kid's a jackass. This dude needs a spanking, honestly, and Red gives him one. He's got a very loud paddle, and he goes over there and takes Colin out. Finds Dembe, gets the info, finds Dembe. No need for anything else, so he killed Colin en route. Were you surprised that Red killed him so quickly?
No, Colin was a douche, so yeah, I absolutely love the fact that he took him out. I'm actually more surprised, though, because I thought the Colin-Arthur dynamic was interesting in the beginning of the episode, and then to have it just completely flip where he's saying, Colin, you're out, and then of course he strangles poor Arthur. I wanted to see more of the family dynamic between the two of them. I thought their time was very short-lived, and I thought we could explore more of the Kilgannons themselves, some family history, why they decided that they were going to take over this business where Red kind of left it off. So I wanted to know more about the Kilgannon network of people and where their entities spread beyond this episode.
Yeah, I really love the moment where Red tries to threaten mom, and the kid's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm sick of her too. What? What just happened? This kid's, he's an awful person, but he's a really fun character. I really wanted him to stick around for a while. I was like, I would like to have this guy on the show for a little bit. He's fun.
What I was kind of hoping was going to happen was that Red was going to steal that car, though. Like, pop him to, grab the briefcase, get in the car, and drive off.
I'm sure he did. You never know what I'm sure he's collecting a lot of stuff along the way so he can get his thing built up. Get his
empire back to normal.
Thank you. Man, I am not thinking of, what are they called? Words. Words are a problem today. Then, of course, he saves Dembe in time. And then Cooper pulls a wrestler and allows Red and Dembe to kidnap a family back to give him a better life. After just last week, I believe he was saying, don't do stuff like that. So, what did you think of this? I really did feel like this was in character.
Explain pull a wrestler.
Why did I say pull a wrestler?
Yeah, because I think it's more pull the red.
No, I think he pulled a wrestler. Have you watched Wrestler this year? He's done a lot of shady stuff because he's in a rut. So he pulled a wrestler.
Yeah, but it's more. I think it's more like pull a red. This is the were there guns? Did you find guns? Well, I didn't find any guns. It was more in line with that, where it was more of a craftily. If someone just happened to be driving this way and happened to intercept them, then we wouldn't be able to turn them over because we wouldn't have them. So
you know what? Red gets referenced enough on the show, and Wrestler's the one that's currently breaking a whole bunch of laws. So Cooper pulled a wrestler.
He's only broken one law with the car in like the second episode, and then we completely dropped the entire storyline.
Okay.
Did you notice that? Did you notice
Obviously,
that?
you don't understand how laws work because he's broken about 16 of them because some laws are connected to other laws. There's obstruction. There's there's a lot of laws.
Fine, he broke 14 laws, but he broke it in one episode back like 6 weeks ago.
2! He covered up a murder, and then he basically covered up another murder, disposed of a body. He's done a lot of things, yeah.
But that was like 6 weeks ago. Everybody's forgotten about it already. We don't even know if Prescott exists anymore. Prescott could be dead.
Maybe you forgot. I just referenced it, so obviously I didn't forget.
We saw Prescott once this season. We saw Agnes once this season. Maybe the two of them are hanging out. I don't know.
We saw Prescott a couple times this season. I think 2 or 3, actually.
2.
Okay, well, that's more than 1. And that's 2 is 1 more than we need of Agnes, so we're good. We're good there. So overall, what'd you think of the basic story of the episode? We're going to get into the characters, which surprisingly, I think are going to go pretty fast. I'll be honest with you, because I got this episode as set up for the fall finale.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for the most part, the Dembe storyline was great. I loved his interactions with the little girl. We'll get into more of that in a little bit. But for all in all, I would give this a solid B this week.
Wow, we're doing letter grades now?
I didn't know what the TV time score was yet. I haven't looked it up. So
yeah, I don't do that. I just say I liked it. So there you go. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's going to knock anyone's socks off, but I love the Dembe focus. I think that was great. And I really liked the villains, actually. I thought Colin was a fun villain. And then seeing Mom go right back and flip on him, I just thought that was a fun moment. The only thing, the practicality, I mean, there's a lot of TV leaps you're taking with this episode, especially on the 2.5 hours that Red has to save Dembe. And apparently he's got a TARDIS when he's doing this. But outside of that, it was a fun episode. And the Dembe and Red moments were very, very heartfelt.
I was really excited to find out where he got the gas for that plane because, let me tell you, that gas is some good stuff. Makes it turn into the Concorde.
Yeah. You know what else I love about this episode, Troy?
What, Aaron?
It confirmed to me that hashtag Tom gonna Tom. That's what. But we'll come back to that. Let's go to music.
Yes, music this week. Apparently, it was also a little light on the music because there was only one. While Cooper informs Red that Anna's parents had been arrested and then hints at how they could be liberated from the Macedonian police, we hear High Rise by Cross Record. That song concludes as Anna's reunited with her parents while Dembe says goodbye with that giant hug and a smile. Aw.
I really like that song.
It was good. It was good. It was the only one I found, though.
Yeah, the last couple of episodes, obviously they have blown their budget on whatever's going to happen in the fall finale.
That's my thinking. It's going to be huge. Huge.
It's going to be huge. All right, let's get into characters.
Well, that and they have to prep for the big 100, right? Because that's coming up soon, right around the corner.
Next year. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, we got
coming.
I should say we got confirmation, right? January 3rd is when Blacklist will return after the holiday break.
Yeah, why don't you explain what's been confirmed? When fall finale is next week.
Fall finale is next week, so make sure you do not miss it. It's going to be big, game-changing, is what I heard. The Blacklist you will never forget, I think is what the NBC promo said, or the unforgettable.
Never forget. Unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
So I will not forget it at all.
So yes, so make sure you're there on time. Like, don't DVR it. You're going to want to watch live next week. Live is big next week. And then it'll go away for a while, and then it'll come back on January 3rd. So that'll be, episode 9 on the 3rd. Episode 10 will be on January 10th. And then the big episode 11, the 100th episode, will be on January 17th. So after that, I'm assuming there'll be probably 2 or 3 more episodes before the Olympics kicks off in February. So I'm expecting a 6-episode run in the middle. Would be my guess.
Look at you with all your little expectations.
Well, I mean, if you look at this, you just look at the calendar.
Nobody cares. Let's move on. All right, let's go to the rest of the characters. Cooper, Wrestler, Samar, all do very little, but smile and verbally explain the plot to keep it moving. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Not really any big character moments. Now, this is where, if you've never listened before, we break down briefly what happened in the episode, and then we go into the characters and kind of talk about what the character development was. And those 3 characters didn't really have anything to happen this week.
Can we talk about Wrestler, though, for a minute? Because we were just talking about, are you kind of disappointed that we haven't actually gotten back to his storyline? It was kind of first 2 episodes and then just completely dropped? That Prescott doesn't exist at all? No,
because I still think it's going to come back. I'm going to talk a little bit more in the character thing, but I think when Pete referenced it and then some guy came in, it's a possibility that it was Wrestler. And I know everybody's like, no, there's no way he would kill Dr. Nick. Well, he might not have realized it was Dr. Nick, or he might have thought something. I don't know. I'm hanging my head on. You don't have somebody kill somebody and then not show him unless it's going to pay off later.
So you really think that Wrestler would have been doing the bidding of whoever this mystery man is that's sitting inside of this, what was it, a barn?
We don't know that he was doing the bidding of them. It could have been for Prescott. It would have been for Prescott if he did something like that. I think it's possible. I just said it's possible. Probable, but possible.
So the guy that came in to attack Pete to get the suitcase.
No. You got to go pay attention to what Pete said. Because Pete said the guys were torturing him, and then they got scared off, and then somebody else came in, remember?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the other person, I think, could possibly be Wrestler. And that was left alone because it'll come back in the fall finale. Because that would be unforgettable.
I wouldn't say that, but...
I'd have a hard time forgetting, like, a Wrestler killed somebody.
It'd be shocking, maybe, but maybe not unforgettable.
This is Aaron's bold prediction. It's probably crazy and it's never going to happen, but that's my bold prediction.
That's pretty bold, man. Pretty bold. All right.
Not as bold as, hey, are we going to get Evil Glenn in an episode? It came true. So, you know.
That was my favorite comment through the course of the evening yesterday. Was the, oh my gosh, it's Evil Glenn.
That's exactly what I said when I was watching him. I'm like, is that Glenn? And my wife's like, it looks just like Glenn. I'm like, it's Evil Glenn. I didn't know Glenn had a brother.
That would be weird.
And I think everybody's on that boat. So, yeah. So, okay. So Cooper, Wrestler, Samar didn't really do a whole lot. Aram doesn't really do much. He does put he's obviously Q now in the Bond universe. He's doing all the gadgets, and he puts a little Bond tracker in Dembe's mouth. And does have a funny line about, except for all the murder you do, you're my role model. That was pretty funny.
Did you have any doubt in your mind? Like, oh, hey, he's putting a tooth in his mouth. I'm sure Dembe's going to get punched at some point in this episode.
No, that's what always happens, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Well, we got a tracker in your mouth. I did like when Dembe's getting interrogated, and we kind of thought that the guy was looking for that, but instead he was looking for westernized teeth.
Right.
Like dental work, which that was clever. I thought that was actually pretty clever.
That was pretty funny.
But yeah, I mean, there's only so many places you can put a tracker in somebody's person without it being discovered. So I'm okay with that. That's really one of those things where it's a trope because you have to do something like that. That's just part of it. It's just part of doing entertainment. I mean, my God, you do so many episodes. How many orifices are they going to hide something where you can put it up as balm, I guess, but that just doesn't seem practical.
You could have given him like a nose ring or something. That would have been cool.
Nose rings aren't cool, are they?
I don't know.
Are they making a comeback? I don't know what's hip anymore. Nobody tells me.
I was trying to come up with a different thing. Pierce his upper lip. I don't know.
For my kids to let me know that. Because I obviously don't know. So moving on, we've got basically 4 major characters that had something major happen. Okay? First one, Liz. I got a feeling the fall finale is going to be where a lot of stuff happens for her, but this one, there's not a whole lot. She does have a giddy, sexy Lion Tom on top of her for a little bit. They share some cutesies. Tom lies to her again about who's on the phone. And then she leaves to the less lying Red. You did not like the sexy time. Is it because they never take their clothes off?
I don't know what it is. Something about it just makes me kind of.
You're like, weren't you like a really lying piece of crap husband for 10 years? Oh, I'm supposed to let that go, but I can't.
Well, I mean, I keep going back to this will probably spew a whole lot of conversation and hate mail coming my way. But I go back to I think that he did. I mean, granted, Red planted Tom to watch Liz, and then Tom flipped and went to Berlin, but that's because Tom actually did have feelings for her. So yes, he might have been a weird, lying, backstabbing husband at one point, but at the same time, he did care for her, and he did come back in the judge, or in his episode when he confronted the judge, not to be confused with The Judge, which is a different episode. So at the same time, I think he truly cares for her, but there's just something about it that makes me go, I don't like it. I don't like the kissing. I don't like the touching. It just, I don't know why.
You're like, that's my woman. Like that?
No, it's not like
Very
that.
Defensive?
It's not like that at all. To me, it seemed awkward on screen, to be quite honest.
I thought it was cute.
Okay.
Yeah, I said it. I thought it was cute. So it was sweet. Anyway, it's a weird tangent to be on.
Well, sweet and cute is like at the cemetery when he comes up from behind. It's like she's upset. He's comforting her.
I thought this was a sweet and cute moment. Anytime Liz smiles on screen, I like that moment. I think she's got a beautiful smile, and it's like she has one of those infectious smiles where if she smiles, it lights up a room. So I'm with Tom. I get it. I'm like, yeah, it's cutesy. I like it.
I like that too. I just don't like the fact that it's Tom being Tom.
Now that wasn't Tom being Tom. He did that later.
No, he did it with the phone. He's like, "Who's on the phone?" You don't need to. Don't look at my phone. You don't need to.
Yeah.
That unknown caller thing. Just totally forget about it.
Where does she think he goes all day? Or, like, what does he do? He's obviously not watching Agnes. We know that.
Yeah,
so what does she think Tom's doing all day?
Like Tom, you're not teaching school right now, so why are you here? The nanny bill is getting a little bit run up. Like we don't have enough budget
bringing
for this.
in your own here, pal.
Exactly.
Cover the bills. All right. Well, she does tell Red that her and Tom got married. Red acknowledges Tom's supposed changes. He seems like he's supporting the decision in a way, but he doesn't seem very thrilled. How do you feel?
Well, yeah, because Tom's doing all this other crappy stuff. It's like, oh, great. Now they're married. Now she's really in trouble because Tom being Tom and doing all this suitcase garbage. And now I got to figure out a way to save Tom because now they're married. Damn it. Like, great. One more thing I got to add to my plate this week.
Yep. Pretty much. And that's really all we got from Liz. Like I said, I think next week she's going to have a lot to do. So she's getting a little bit of a break this week. And they often do that. When characters are going to get a heavy load, they get a break. So moving on to Tom. On this week's edition of hashtag Tom Gonna Tom, Mr. Fibber meets up with Pete Slade. Let's talk about all the things Tom did wrong.
He killed people, and killed people.
Hang on. People, I had this debate, and I can't wait to get into this debate, so give me a chance here. Meets up with Pete's lady friend, who helps Tom track down Pete, where we finally find out the truth. Pete didn't touch Dr. Nick. Some mysterious guy did. And he lost like 3 digits in the process.
But thanks for that, by the way. I was still finishing my dinner when you unwrapped that hand.
Right. That was pretty cool, especially like how sticky it sounded when he pulled it. Anyway, I still think Wrestler could be that guy, but that's beside the point because, we'll find out if that's true next week. Of course, because Tom Gonna Tom, he leads Evil Glenn and friends to find them, and then they end up torturing him. Well, they're really just shooting him. It's really lazy torture. I mean, they don't really do much except kill him. So I would want to point out, people keep saying, oh, I keep seeing this everywhere. Why do you keep saying Tom does dumb stuff? Tom is the super spy and blah, 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 blah. He didn't get those people killed. Yes, he did. He absolutely led those people to their deaths. How can you say otherwise? He basically brought Pete into this thing, and then Pete got involved and went on a lam. And then he hunted down this guy's girlfriend and got her to come in and help against threats and everything else. He was aware of the threats, and he still went out there and tried. He was aware that the Red's guy was following him. That we found out what big plot twist. We'll come back to that. He was aware that there was a threat made to. Was it Lena? Is that her name?
Yeah, Lena.
There's a threat made to Lena in her home, and he still kept working with her and then got her killed. There is no other thing except his complicitness in getting her killed that's at play here. It was totally dumb. dumb character. Like, Tom is not a smart spy. That's all I'm saying.
He's super smart, though. He was able to take the grainiest of security videos, zoom in with his super spy eyesight, and be able to figure out the name of the hotel from the hotel key on the dash of the car.
It's so hard every week because I love Ryan, man. I love his performance. I really do. I think he's a cool dude. He's just got cool hair and, pretty eyes. It's the character stuff. Why does Tom have to do dumb stuff? Like, at this point, I find him to be a much more credible threat to Liz than Red, based on what I know now.
Yeah.
Based on what I know now.
Let's replay this. We get to the hotel. Pete's car is there. He pulls the gun out of the glove compartment, and she's like, why are you pulling out a gun? And then he goes into the place, leaves the door open, has a gun, so he could have actually made sure that nobody was following in behind him, and then he turns around and whacks over the head. Like, why weren't you casing the joint? Why didn't you double check? Maybe come back later. Don't go in right away. Not such a good spy. Not such a good spy.
No, and I'm shocked you're saying it because you're always very defensive of him.
When he's being a spy, he's good, but he wasn't being a good spy. He was being a husband trying to find the answers. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and do whatever I can for my lady, which usually gets people killed.
Okay, and the other thing, this is like the whole Tom angle just bugged the crap out of me. I'll be perfectly honest and about that. At no point does he say, what did you learn? That I can recall, unless I missed it. It's very possible I missed it. I don't recall him actually saying to Pete, so what did you find out? Did you hear it? Did you hear that?
You're so hung up. It's like we're one episode away. Just let it go, man. Let it go.
Did you hear him ask the guy that he knows got his fingers cut off for this information, ask that question, or did I just miss it?
No, he did not say, Pete, just give me the damn name. Who is it? Who does number 2 work for?
If I saw a guy who lost 3 fingers because of this information, I'd be like, what was so important? You can tell me because I hired you.
Yeah. You either tell me or I kill your girlfriend.
I'm just saying. Oh, it's frustrating. I know that they're doing that so they can, stretch it out and tease the finale. I get that. But sometimes you have to stop and go, okay, even a TV show, you gotta work with me sometimes. That's just Tom gonna Tom. Hashtag Tom gonna Tom. So, okay, that leads up to, I'm done picking on Tom now. Do you think he's going to live or die next week?
Clearly going to live now that they're married. Red?
That could be setting up for more heartbreak. We're finally married again, and he dies. What do you really believe that? You think he's going to be fine now?
Well, I think that the foreshadowing sequence is going to happen. It looks like Tom's going to die, and then what's really going to happen is Tom's going to get out of that alive, but almost be beaten to the point of death. They're going to go send him to the hospital, get operated on. He'll be perfectly fine for just enough time for Liz to come in and hold his hand. And then he throws a clot and dies in the hospital bed.
You think he will die? You have to commit to an answer here. You can't just go back and forth. Do you think he's going to live or die next week?
No, he's going to totally live.
Okay. I think he's totally going to live too. Now that we have more information, the foreshadowing to me looks like Red and Dembe bust in and to save him, actually.
Yes.
After he's been beaten and tortured and everything else. And I think as he was on the floor and he was living then, he'll be living at the end of the episode. Now, the last gunshot, there was one more gunshot, and we've said all along, you don't see him shot, so don't take that to mean that he gets killed like so many people did. I'm sure that's probably whoever was left standing, villain-wise. Evil Glenn, probably. Be my guess. So my guess is they break in to save him probably at the end of the episode, and they shoot Evil Glenn.
We really need to open up a t-shirt shop. The Evil Glenn shirts, Tom Gonna Tom shirts.
Yeah.
You're my hero shirts.
It's funny.
3 wishes here, picture of
I think you know what?
Dome.
I kind of want to buy Ryan that shirt, and I think he seems like a really good natured guy. I think he would actually wear that around New York. Hashtag Tom Gonna Tom. I think he really would. He seems like that kind of guy, just a really nice, affable dude.
That'd be fun.
All in good fun.
We just need him to live so that we can keep having these long conversations about Tom.
Well, it ain't like I'm stopping anytime soon because he's going to live. All right. Now, some people still think he's going to die. Do you think it's going to be an unforgettable finale, or do you think it's one of those NBC?
I think there'll be some kind of an answer that'll be a big shock.
What? For the bones, you mean?
Maybe for the bones, but there'll be some reveal. I think will happen in the fall finale that'll just make us go and like, damn, we got to wait till January 3rd.
Oh, I think we're getting a big reveal. Yeah, I think even the powers that be realize that as much as you want to kind of, it's a TV show, you want to string the drama out as long as you can because that's what you do. I think they know they have to give the answer to the bones, at least that, to the audience by the end of that episode, because it's been 8 weeks. Come on.
Well, if they don't give it in the show, I just hope they call you and give you the answers so I can stop hearing you talk about it.
Drives me crazy. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Is it a duck? I don't even care anymore. Just tell me what it is. Give me something. Give me a nugget.
It's a prehistoric caveman.
Oh, give me a Three Musketeers, man. Give me a nugget. All right. You like that?
That was good. That was good.
Okay, well, let's move on to Red. And by the way, we hope Tom makes it out. He looks like he's in a lot of pain, as he should be since he got so many people killed this week.
He was able to survive Rocco Zamani, his own wife shooting him, and then kicking the crap out of him. So he's been through worse. This will be
like
nothing.
A cockroach. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
he'll be fine. All right, Red spends a lot of this episode trying to get Dembe in time, and I wanna point out what this means. In 2.5 hours, I believe, was the clock?
Flies from the U.S.
Hang on,
to Greece, to Macedonia.
He's on the plane. Well, he could have been almost there. I don't know. But he's on the plane when that clock is ticking. He gets to the estate of the Kilgannon Corporation, finds the son, kills him, finds the driver's place, and then finds Dembe. Seriously, TARDIS is really the only explanation I could come up with. Well, he's zipping around faster than anybody on TV outside of Game of Thrones.
Well, we're assuming that it's the Kilgannon Corporation, so I think people were assuming that maybe they were actually in Ireland and not actually in Macedonia, but this whole thing could have taken place in Macedonia, so the plane only had to go to one country. It is a possibility.
It takes 20 to 30 minutes to land a plane.
But they had 2.5 hours. That's still time.
Just
I wanted to know what was he going to do. Just sit at the house all day, drink the guy's lemonade, put up his feet on the couch, read the paper, wait for the guy to get home.
Well, he had to do something. That was really the only plan. Now, to be fair, that time could have been extended. Like, it's just a guesstimate. Could have been, that was just a guesstimate, so you don't know. But yeah, it was.
Rum's math is pretty accurate. I'm just saying.
Yeah, obviously. And Red is super fast. Super fast. This guy does not miss a beat. But I really dug his
perseverance. Yeah.
Yeah. How he was determined. And because you often don't get to see him nervous. You don't get to see Red portrayed as
fearful,
concerned, fearful. Yeah. That's a good one. Frightened for his friend. So it was nice to see that because it does bring a little heart back into Red. And too often that is missing, well, not too often, but too often it is doubtful. It's more doubtful than in this case. I don't find it doubtful at all. I think it's 100% genuine.
Agree.
So do you think he's back in charge of the migrant transportation business now?
I think that's the reason why they had this episode, was that he could take it back over. Now that there's nobody running it from the Kilgannon side, absolutely he's in charge of his business once again. I don't know where he's going to get ships in order to rectify the problem because he's still a little bit low on cash, but at least he's now in charge of the business again. And has a sweet ride.
Does have a sweet ride. Well, he says a quote when he's talking about Dembe and why he's so important to him. You ready?
Yep.
I was going to try and do it in full Red, but I don't really want to make people mad at me for getting it wrong. He says, he stayed because he saw me for the man I really was. A man surrounded by darkness, no friends that could be trusted, no faith that love or loyalty could ever truly exist. Dembe connected his life with mine to show me that day and every day that the world is not what I fear it to be. Dembe guards my life because he is determined to save my soul. To me, that implies that he thinks his soul is worth saving or can be saved. Do you feel it can be?
Absolutely, I think it can be. Because especially when you get towards the end of this episode and him being able to, now you don't know if this is really him saying, we should reunite this girl with her parents, which could be more for the greater mythology concept. Or if it was just, well, the girl was important to Dembe, so I want to do something nice for Dembe, so I'll reunite the parents. But either way, Red still took time out of his busy schedule to reunite a family. And that does mean, yeah, you know what? Maybe he is a good guy after all. No, he's not. He's a criminal. He's a bad guy.
He is a criminal.
I think he did it because it was good. It was good for Dembe, not because he wanted to get the family back together.
I agree. I think there are certain characters that he will do anything for, and Dembe and Liz are those two characters. And Agnes now, those two characters. I like that monologue, though. And just doing it right there makes me realize how hard it is to do that well. Because I was more like, blah, 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 word vomit.
Do it well and do it on the phone.
Yeah, all those things, man. It makes it hard. Sometimes actors, you forget how good they are at what they do because they've been doing it so well for so long.
Agree.
Any thoughts on the Red Dembe love fest this episode? I mean, did it open up the cockles of your heart?
Oh, totally. The plane thing, it's like, you know, who's going to take care of you? That's what I'm worried about. I was like, oh, so good. So good. Need more of it. Need more of it. I mean, we had a couple of these, right? With the airplane and just sitting there underneath the stars. So more Dembe and Red is always good. Now,
do you think Red is actually on a quest for redemption?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think he's still looking out for himself.
Okay.
I mean, he wants to maybe be good for Liz, but that's could be just a facade as well, because we don't really know what his true intentions are still.
Right.
We're supposed to believe his true intentions are that, yes, I want to be good for my daughter, but we'll have to see if that actually plays out.
Well, he'd have to say that word first. Never has.
He said,
I guess he did say it once,
he said, Elizabeth is my daughter. He never said, I am her father.
Well, he said it drugged.
Yeah.
Drugged. Yeah, we've already had that argument. Let's just save that for the fall finale, and we'll see where that goes. I'm sure
hopefully we get some more.
Will come up.
Hopefully get some more sweet whispers that we'll never know the answer to.
Who are the bones? Oh, they're Red Reddingtons. What? What just happened? Okay, so we did have a plot twist. Do you want to tell them what this plot twist was?
Yeah, apparently the guy who came into Lena's house and threatened him, Bucky, as I like to call him from Nashville, Bucky ended up being a good guy after all. He's working for Red. He was there to actually protect her. You just said Red was
a bad guy. You can't say that he's a good guy now.
Well, we thought he was a bad guy, but he's actually a good guy because he's working for Red, trying to keep Lena and Tom safe. He was not the person that stole the bones or working for the people that stole the bones. He was working for Red. Whoa. Mind blown.
Yeah, I was surprised.
That was a good shock. Good twist.
Takes a lot on a TV, especially as much as we watch. Really, especially as much as you watch. It takes a lot to surprise people, and I was genuinely surprised. Like, oh, I should have saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming. But I know who should have saw that the guy was there would be Tom, and he didn't. So
every time he was telling him, like, "Hey, look in your rearview mirror, dude."
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. That's a cool twist.
I liked it.
He still threatened Lena, though. But I guess he was doing it for her own good,
safety,
just to get her away from the bones.
Exactly.
Yeah. He did say anybody that gets close to that is going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, I believe, warn Tom of this, yes?
Yes, he did.
One more time, Tom gonna Tom. Now, who the hell's in the suitcase? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want me to ask that anymore.
I have no flipping clue. Don't even care at this point.
I just wanted to answer.
I want to know who Evil Glenn is. That's what I want to know.
I do want to know who Evil Glenn. Who do you think he's working for?
The man.
Oh my God! Really? Do you have a guess yet, or you have no idea?
Well, that was a guess.
Okay, who's the man?
That was the alias reference to say, oh, the man, but the man really wasn't a man. It was a woman. I think he's working for
Shaft.
He's
working for Shaft.
Could be working for Katarina. She's alive.
You want to know? My money is actually on Katarina.
It would be a fun twist.
That's my money.
And it would finally put to bed the mother theory. Like nail in a coffin once and for all. Which you'd be so happy with.
That's my theory. And it would work for why would what was his name? That almost killed Red but let him go.
Kirk,
thank you. It would explain why Kirk, we said there's only a couple things that he would let Red go for, and one would be Katarina is alive. So I could totally see that. And also he would maybe protecting her from her mother instead of thinking her mother means good things. Her mother might be an awful, awful person now. We don't know.
She probably was an awful, awful person before. Never was in her life. Always shacking up with guys in the backseat of cars, letting the nanny take care of her. Oh, wait, that sounds like Liz in a way.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm just going to let you live with that one. So we get to Dembe. Now we're on Dembe. Last character. Well, there's one more character I'm going to mention when it's all said and done. But Dembe, he has such a presence about him. We talked about that. But I do think he takes center stage. And Twitter turns into panties being tossed on stage every time he gets center stage. Fans love him. They absolutely love him. And even though he does very little with the character, I think he grows every time he gets a little bit to do. And in this episode, he grew yet again and also shined a light on Red yet again. So I was very happy that Hisham got some more screen time. I love when he does. Okay, so are you glad we got more Dembe?
Yeah, I love Dembe. I think we should do Dembe all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
Just make it, because I definitely want a Dembe and a Ram spinoff. Can we make that happen?
That would be fun, actually, because remember we had that episode last season where they kind of work together. I'd love to see more of Dembe and Ram working together. I think it's a match made in heaven.
I want a spinoff. I would actually like whenever Blacklist ends, just give those two a spinoff and they can go off and be wacky, have wacky adventures. Samara can come along, wrestler if he's not in jail. We'll see how that plans out.
But will his hair still be good in jail? That's the question.
Wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not even going to move. Not even in the shower. That's right, ladies. Take that visual with you. I know what it feels like to be seen as less than human, a thing transported for money. You saved me from that, which is why I know you'll want me to try and save others. It's a very nice speech. And then he offers himself up as an operative, looking for safe passage to get to the heart of this ring, gun to his head, doesn't flinch.
I think it's better when he just said, I thought everything was for sale. Drops the cash on the counter. He's just so sly.
That was pretty cool. I love the gun to the head because he really didn't flinch. I like those moments. Any show, when they pull those off, I really like him. That to me is like, wow, you're tough. You're willing to die for this. Because me, I would be like, I'd cave right then. What do you need to know? Exactly what do you need to know? I will write it down. Like, do you need it in cursive? Arabic? How do you want this done? I'll get it done. So then he is left locked in a refrigerated truck, left for dead, never panics, even when certain death awaits. I kind of want to know, did you ever, throughout this episode, worry for his safety?
Never, because it's not a finale episode. If it was next week, I'd be concerned that Red would get there, he opened up the door, and then they'd all be dead. That's a finale type thing, and you would have been like, no. But
yeah,
alas, because it wasn't a finale episode, was never worried. Ram would have found the truck eventually.
I wasn't too worried either. I think it was a little too convenient, probably, how they resolved it. But it's TV. Sometimes you just gotta let those things go.
You do.
Not the Tom thing though. I ain't letting that go. But I will let this go. One of the long-standing character struggles on the show is why Dembe, a decent man who will kill when ordered, but seems to have this caring heart, would even work for Red after all the misdeeds. So I feel like we finally have an episode that addressed that more than just the Bombasa cartel, which is I'm indebted to him. I think it needed more fleshing out than that, and I think they really did a good job here of establishing that. Yeah,
because even in the situation where we'll play on the father scenario, but if you had a dad who was maybe kind of a deadbeat, whatever, and he helped you get out of what you needed to do, no matter what he did, you'd still feel obligated to maybe see if he can get help or, get him into AA or whatever it would be. You'd have that same kind of foresight into how you could maybe bring your father back from the grave, if you will. So I think that's kind of the same thing here. He just feels like no matter what, I might owe my life to Red because he saved me, but at the same time, I also feel like I have to save his soul because I know he's a good man because he saved me. So I'll do everything I can for that.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Dembe? That's what I want to know. And he knows gadgets, speaks eight languages. Eight
now.
Languages.
He's been taking lessons.
I don't even know 8 words. So I do want to point out, you could go to NBC, I think it's NBCnews.com, did a really nice spread article.
Yeah, piece on him.
Hisham.
Yeah, it was in the Facebook group too. I saw it posted in there.
Yeah, really, really well thought out, really nice. I mean, the guy is an actual hero. You know, he's not just, he's a firefighter for 20 years, and we've had him on the show, so you know what he's
like.
like.
Go back to and listen to that episode, yeah.
Yeah, but
50,
he's
51,
a great guy.
somewhere's in there. Yeah, BLE 51, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Great guy. Definitely check it out. He's definitely a hero. So we're glad that he gets some more screen time, and yeah, just love that. Now there is one more character. I kind of want to talk to somebody, a character. I want to talk to a fictional character if I can.
Sure.
Agnes, don't worry. I know you're probably sitting alone somewhere in the dark, wondering where are my parents at, because I'm alone and it's cold. It's New York. It's winter. I mean, you know, it'd be nice if somebody would actually remember that I'm here. Don't worry, because you might get to pick out a new daddy soon. We'll find out in about a week.
Is it Virginia, though? Are they in Virginia?
Are they in Virginia or New York?
I've wondered that myself a few times, actually, through the course of this season. I'm like, we started out with that New York Groove song, and it's like, okay, were they in New York? Did they move the post office? Has it been relocated?
Well, wherever. Basically, Agnes is probably in a moving van, right? That's what I figure right now. She's just driving around, keeping her on the move, you know, so they can't find her.
Sure. She's got her Barbie car out there. Doing 10 miles an hour on the
Well, she might actually be in the apartment next week, because isn't that flash forward? I mean, her toy's on the ground. Toy wouldn't be on the ground unless the kid's there, right?
True. Do we get to meet the nanny next week? Dead on the floor?
Maybe. I don't have any foreshadowing for that answer, so I can't help you. All right. Well, we'll be right back with Red's Rhetoric right after this.
You go through there, it's 1960.
Stephen King's time travel thriller, 11/22/63, is coming to Hulu. And Golden Spiral Media will journey down the rabbit hole with 11/22/63, A Look Back. Join Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinrichs as they journey through the obdurate past. Life turns on a dime. So join us at 11/22/63podcast.com.
Hey, Dembe loyals, this is Hisham Tawfiq. You are listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we play two scenes from this week's episode of The Blacklist, and then you get to vote which is your favorite over at theblacklistexposed.com. Just look for the post for the Kilgannon Corporation. Last week, 55% of you would like to spend the afternoon with Red playing games, as hashtag Red Celebrity won last week. By one vote, by the way. This week, there's actually really only one story worth playing, and everybody's going to vote for it, so we'll just bask in the glory of Red's conversation with Liz about his love for Dembe one more time.
You ever wonder why Dembe stays with me? Why anyone so decent would spend his days at the side of someone so indecent?
You saved him. He owes you his life. He protects you because you protected him.
No, Elizabeth. Dembe didn't stay with me because he saw me as his savior. He stayed with me because he saw me for the man I really was. A man surrounded by darkness. No friends who could be trusted. No faith that loyalty or love could ever truly exist. I was younger then. Angrier. Dembe connected his life with mine to show me that day and every day that the world is not what I fear it to be. He is the light in the darkness, living proof that there is another way, that life can be good, that people can be kind, that a man like me might one day dream of becoming a man like him. He pledged his life, offered it up as evidence that I was wrong about this world. Dembe guards my life because he's determined to save my soul.
And now we're on Special Agent Intel. We are climbing, people. This week's episode scored an 8.4 out of 10 from the Blacklist community over on TV Time. This week's best characters were Dembe with 72% of the vote. I am stunned. Stunned. That's my stunned face.
Shocked.
Red was a distant second.
Did you like how we were acting there?
I wasn't acting. I was dead serious. Red was a distant second, and Tom slides in a third, just slightly ahead of his blushing bride. Tom is ahead of Liz, really?
Yeah, by one vote.
He got 2 people killed.
The fans like what the fans like, I guess.
I realize the dude is a sexy guy, and he looks great in a T-shirt, but he got 2 people killed. If I had a friend that kept getting my other friends killed, I probably wouldn't want to hang out with that friend anymore. Just as a theory. If you want to get in on this fun, download the TV Time app to join in not only conversation about the Blacklist, but your other favorite TV shows as well. Visit tvtime.com for details.
Going over to the Facebook group, Linda Hood Cheney checks in and said, okay, seriously, I was ready to beat some writers. I mean, you took Mr. Kaplan from me a mere 7 episodes ago, and now you want to wreck me with threatening to take Dembe? Just no. Random thought list, number 1. Here we go again on the idea of ripping from the headlines, continuation on a theme. Number 2, whose jet was Reddington on? That was the one they got from...
That was the one they got in like episode 2 or 3,
yeah,
right?
Leroy and Quackers helped them acquire that jet. Number 3, I think Tom laid it out there. I'm not the little pipsqueak you think I am. After he didn't die in season 1, I've always thought he is way more in than any other Red foe. Except for some dumb Tom earlier this season.
Earlier? Like earlier this episode?
Like earlier since like season 3? All right, I believe all his reactions have always been calculated. Liz is a pawn in his game to get his target Red.
I don't believe that. I think that's a red herring. I know a lot of people thought at the end when he's like, I'm going to give up Red. I didn't see I saw that as a
I'm saying
grasp.
Anything I possibly can to save my life.
Yes, and if I get Red involved, he can save me. He's the only one now that can save me. That's what I saw. I saw that as I want to save my ass plea.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there's still that thought that maybe Tom is still playing Liz.
No, I don't believe he's playing Liz at all. I really don't. I think he genuinely, at this point in the show, I think he genuinely loves her. I mean, he does dumb stuff, maybe in the name of love. I don't know, but he's still, I believe he loves her.
In the name of love. But maybe because I think he's still kind of like manipulating her. That's why those kissy scenes kind of gross me out. Anyways, number 4, Tom didn't get anyone killed. He kept his mouth shut. If Pete had done the same, he would have lived longer.
Do you agree with me or disagree with me that he got those guys killed?
He got those guys killed.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I wanted.
Now, Pete maybe have started the cycle starting down a path, potentially, but it was Tom who wasn't looking out for the lady friend who he should have been paying better attention on what was going on around him so that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Lena was an innocent, sweet person, and she did. So that's Tom's fault.
Number 5, dude who has the case looks like Glenn's cousin.
He looks like Glenn. Straight up, just Glenn.
Number 5, Red told Tom he wants the case. Tom is simply setting up the exchange. Mm-hmm. And then number 6, I like the 2 action plot lines going on at the same time, but seriously, leave Dembe out of it.
I love how people freak out when Dembe's in danger. It's great. Like, they get genuinely frightened for his well-being. Him and Aram.
That's good.
I think the two big ones. Monica Stolfa. Tom. You bonehead. We're introduced to the newest big bad. I really feel bad if Ryan listens to this because I feel like, poor guy. He's probably be like, God, why are they so mean to my character? It's just not you, man. We love you. It's the character. But first, some other observations. I love the Dembe and Aram exchange. I would like to see him interact with other members of the post office. I love Red's reaction to Colin's mother when he finds out what an ingrate he is to her. I love the conversation between Liz and Red about why Dembe stays with him. Everyone needs a Dembe. I agree. I want a Dembe. Again, I'm hoping Tom is gone after the next episode because we barely see the rest of the agents. Speaking of Tom, he blurts out to Evil Glenn that he has a wife and a baby after seeing him shoot that poor woman in the back. Thank you. One more dumb Tom thing. Tom. Then it looks like he's going to set Red up to be ambushed. Bad move, dude. I wouldn't blame Red for shooting him if that's the case. Evil Glenn indicates that there are a lot of people looking for the bones. I think he's just working for someone just like the bearded dude, Baz number 2, was working for Red.
That's funny.
Number 2.
Boz number 2.
Boz number 2. It ends up with Tom acting like he's going to snitch for the psychopath, therefore endangering Red, Liz, Agnes, Dembe, and the post office. Finally, I think Tom will make the ultimate sacrifice to protect Liz. I'm counting down to the next episode. If he did that, it would redeem him in my eyes.
You think he sacrifices himself for the greater good?
I said if he did that, it would redeem him in a lot of ways from the things that I don't like about that character, yeah.
And
Except for the dumb stuff. Seriously, that bugged me. I'm glad somebody else pointed it out because I was trying to let it go because I felt like I was picking on Tom so much. But when a guy's got a gun to your head, you just killed 2 people, and you give him further things to hold against you, your wife and your baby, and you're a super spy? What? What? I've never been a spy, and I know that. I would never say that. He doesn't know me. I'm not going to give that information willingly. Earn it if you want to threaten me with my family. Oh, yeah.
I just love the fact. I just love the fact that Monica uses Evil Glenn as well.
Yeah, well, that was all over. Like it was trending. I think at one point.
Hashtag Evil Glenn. Yeah. And Elise Olivia said, "Too many people looking for the case for those bones to be some phantom, real Reddington or Katerina. The DNA shows up in CODIS, so it's known death after 1990. By the way, what happened with Oleander? I don't know. Good question. I also don't believe Tom will die." But Liz will be fooled into believing that he does, much like Red and Liz did in the season 3 scenario with the Cuba thing. So does Red come in and quote unquote kill Tom to put him into hiding in order to protect him or to protect Liz or whatever?
That's interesting.
It's a scenario. It's possible.
It's definitely possible. Absolutely. We haven't heard much about Oleander, so we got to have that come back.
Or Prescott in a while.
Oleander is Katerina.
Oleander's Prescott.
I think Oleander is Katerina.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Kathy...
I'd be sad because then my theory would be wrong, but it'd be cool.
I'd be happy because your theory would be wrong. Kathy D... Oh, boy. Trey, help me out here.
Kathy D.
Okay, Kathy D. I give this an A+. Dembe was superb. Wow. Raymond is redeemable. Tom, not so much, but you never know. Damn.
Well, so she's hoping that he does get redeemed at least.
People are harder on Tom than I am. I like it.
Grace Norman said, "Steak knives, all the better to stab Tom with." She had a smiley face there. Mm-hmm. So this was a good episode as usual. I'm not surprised that Red was happy for Liz when she announced the marriage. Super happy we got a hug. Am I the only one that gets excited over that? Actually, I preferred the hug from Red to Liz too than I did from Tom to Liz. Love that we saw so much of Aram's role model this episode, a.k.a. Dembe. It was so sweet to see him take care of the little girl who was separated from her parents, making the bunny, and then saving her life. Red and Dembe's friendship is truly one of a kind, and I love the scene in the car when Red says he thought he'd lost him. So let's go to Tom. Hashtag Tom being Tom is peaking. His hobby must be getting other people killed.
I like Tom Gonna Tom better.
Tom
I like
Gonna Tom rolls
hashtag
better.
Tom Gonna Tom. Yeah.
So hashtag Tom something Tom.
Tom Gonna Tom. Keep it the same one, and then it trends.
Hashtag Tom Gonna Tom is peaking. His hobby must be getting other people killed. First Pete, then a girlfriend. That really crossed the line for me. I enjoy the action thriller Tom earlier in the episode. However, I would watch Ryan do spy scenes all day, just not be with Liz. Thank you. I really didn't think Pete was the one that was hiding the bones, wondering who this man is that has them and why he couldn't get to Red without Tom. I think we'll find out more about him in the fall finale. Sad it's already almost over, but of course, a great episode.
Donna Fisher, while we can all criticize what Tom said at the end, it is what he had to say to stay alive.
I agree.
He dares not mention he's the son-in-law. I think everyone will... Yeah, he dares not mention that, but he has no problem mentioning he has a wife and kid at home. Whatever.
Right.
I think everyone will work together next episode to save Tom. I agree. That won't make it easy to do. And that Garvey was a piece of work. It will be hard to wait a week to see what happens, then 6 weeks after that. Is that his name?
Yeah, I think that was even Ian Garvey, kind of a pre-shadowing for next week.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And Alex finishes up and said, really good episode tonight. The FBI and Reddington do some great stuff together. This was the most I think we've ever seen Dembe speak. I wonder how Tom will wiggle himself out of this mess. That's always fun to see. The guy has infinite lives.
Yeah, that's true. He's got 1 million of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a fun episode. You know, it wasn't, the Blacklister was cool. You had a good character arc. It was very fun, light. It wasn't like a very deep or heavy episode, so I really enjoyed it.
But it's all about next week.
Yes, next week is where stuff's going to get real, and we'll have to have a 16-hour podcast, I'm sure, about it. So I'm expecting some unforgettable moments, Troy. Are you prepared to unforget some stuff?
I am prepared to unforget everything.
All right. And we might have some cool stuff to talk about next week, too. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. But I definitely know that I will not make you lawyer up for this fall finale. We'll keep it as friendly and kind as we can. We'll just see how it plays out.
We'll see how this works out, yeah. But we might have some cool stuff to talk about next week, too. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to come back. That's going to conclude this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed and use the show's hashtag, The Blacklist.
Apologies that we were not doing that this week. Everybody was a little bit busy at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Yeah. I tried to jump on the 10 o'clock feed, but I was recording another podcast, so apologize.
Maybe don't do so many podcasts.
I know, really. Don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and join the Facebook group as well. Just search for The Blacklist Exposed on Facebook. Talk about the show, the podcast, or what your favorite handkerchief animal is.
You can also subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or your favorite podcast player of choice. You can even listen from the website, but if you're really on the go, make sure you download our app for iOS and Android, powered by Spreaker. You'll also find all the intel and analysis about the episode for the Kilgannon Corporation by visiting theblacklistexposed.com. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Will Tom live or die? And if die, how?
Live and let die.
Ooh, you got to pay like the Beatles $1,000 now.
I do.
Yep. Good job. All right, guys, we will see you soon. Next week, it's going to be a gas.
Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.